Bottega Veneta is everywhere right now. It's in songs, thanks to Bia, everybody's wearing it. Hey guys, it's Sade. Welcome to my channel. This is the ABCs of fashion, and today we're gonna go over the letter B. I'm gonna be talking about the Birkin bag, Bottega Veneta, Bobbito Garcia, and the Nike blazers. So let's get into the video. So first things first, I'm going over the Birkin bag. Everybody knows what it is, but like maybe some of you guys don't know why we love it. We know it, but why do we love it? So what is it? The Birkin bag is a bag from Hermes that has gained popularity from being seen worn by the world's top percent, right? We see Cardi B with it, we see the Olsen twins with it, we see a whole bunch of celebrities rocking this bag, and we love it. But why? So basically, I'm gonna go over the history really quick and just really go into what it is. So how did it come to be? So basically, there's this actress named Jane Birkin. She was on a flight and she stuffed her trademark wicker basket bag into the overhead compartment, and all of the contents spilled out into the sea in the aisle below. Jane Birkin, the actress, found herself sitting next to the executive chairman of Hermes at the time, Jean-Louis Dumas. After a lengthy discussion about her ideal design and Dumas's recommendation of pockets, the English actress scribbled out a sketch of what would become the iconic Birkin. Her request, bigger than the Kelly bag, but smaller than the Sergei Gainsbourg suitcase. So why is this bag even so special, right? I just told you it was a design made by Dumas and Jane Birkin, but why exactly is it special? It's because these bags are handmade, and Hermes's bags are not as widely available because they're handmade and of the most expensive leathers and materials. So that means they're super exclusive. So basically, it's so big because of basic supply and demand. Small supply, high demand. That's why it's so big, because of its exclusivity. You and I, we can't get the bag. However, all of our favorite celebrities, all of the people we see in media have the bag, and we want it because they have it. And even some of them can't get it, which makes us even more crazy about the bag. So basic business, supply and demand, low supply, there's gonna be a high demand. So you're asking me, where can you even get these bags? So there's a couple of options. If you really want like a new one from Hermes, you're most likely gonna have to work with an Hermes associate at one of their stores, and you're most likely gonna go on a wait list, and that's if you meet their credentials, right? Because some celebrities don't even meet the credentials of getting on this wait list. So if you meet their credentials, you're most likely gonna go on a wait list. That's option number one. Option number two is to buy secondhand, right? You can, I know Farfetch, places like that, the Real, they sell secondhand Birkin bags. You're just gonna have to be on the lookout, really scouting for them, because they go quick. So those are your options: waitlist or shop secondhand and do your best to find what you can. Hopefully it's good, right? Even if it's not the best quality, Birkin bags age really well. If you look up the Olsen twins wearing their Birkin bags, they wear their bags out and it kind of looks good. So those are your options, but that is the Birkin bag from Hermes. Next, I'm gonna go over Bottega Veneta. It's another brand that is not a person but a brand. So this one is a lot of reading, a lot of history. So I'm gonna get started. Bottega Veneta was originally founded in 1966 by Michele Tare and Renzo Zangiaro in Vicenza as a simple leather goods company. The name directly translates as Venetian shop. It built up a loyal following for its refreshingly logoless accessories with the likes of Andy Warhol, Lauren Hutton, and Jacqueline Kennedy. Shortly after its birth, Bottega's machinery for production seemingly put it at a disadvantage from other manufacturers of leather goods. The sewing machines the young house was equipped with lacked the strength that those of other purveyors possessed. The solution to this problem was the primary innovation that set the label up for success in the early 70s, the intrecciato weave. Intrecciato was chosen because it is the Italian word for braided. The intrecciato weave is vastly recognizable and cherished in the fashion industry. So, rewind a little bit. There was a dip in sales and cachet in the 90s when logomania truly stuck. Pause. Logomania is basically a brand's logo plastered all over the place. So like with Louis Vuitton, their bags having LV all over everything. With MCM, there's the MCM everywhere. That's basically logomania. It's all over the bags, all over the clothes, just in your face. So Bottega Veneta was revived under the helm of creative director Thomas Mayer. Mayer grew Bottega into a luxury giant, also introducing ready-to-wear, fine jewelry, and perfume alongside its famed accessories. Currently, Daniel Lee holds the position of creative director. Previously, he had worked at Celine under Phoebe Philo as director of ready-to-wear, and before that held positions at Maison Margiela and Balenciaga. The company has been catapulted into the spotlight of must-have fashion. Daniel Lee received a number of fashion awards, including Brand and Designer of the Year. So that was a whole lot. Let's digest it. Bottega Veneta is everywhere right now. It's in songs, thanks to Bia, everybody's wearing it. It's mainstream, it's gone mainstream, everybody knows what it is. Thank you, Daniel Lee. But rewinding a little bit more, basically, Bottega Veneta's slightly newer compared to some other brands, right? It came out in the 70s, not that old. And they kind of crashed a little bit because logomania was super popular in the 90s, and like they weren't doing any of that. They had this weave pattern that's super recognizable today, right? If you see the little squares on shoes, you know it's Bottega. You see the little squares on a purse, on a bag, you know it's Bottega Veneta. But back then that wasn't super popular. However, why do we love it now? Because of its simplicity. We see those little squares and we know exactly who and what it is. It's Bottega, and that's why people gravitate towards it, because not all the time you want to be flashy, like bam, this is the luxury good brand that I'm rocking. Sometimes you want to be like subtle about it, like yeah, whatever. But that's why it's super popular, and that's why we love it today, because it's something that is super simple but still high fashion, luxury, and fashionable, right? Basically, where can you get it? Anywhere. It's not super exclusive like the Birkin from Hermes, but it's still accessible to people if you can afford it, right? So obviously I would recommend going on their website if you want to buy some of their items. Another place that I highly recommend is Essence. I love shopping on their website, even just browsing and looking at what they have. They're super current and they're up to date, and that's another website I would recommend. I'll link everything down below. Okay, so I'm super excited about this next one. I'm gonna be going over Bobbito Garcia. He is a legend, he's an icon, so I'm not gonna keep talking about it. I'm gonna get into a little bit of background about him. So from his early days, of hosting the legendary alternative hip-hop show, The Stretch Armstrong and Bobbito Show, throughout the 90s, which aired unsigned artists and played in-studio freestyles from then unsigned legends including Nas, Biggie, Jay-Z, Wu-Tang Clan, Fugees, and more. And he also pioneered his 2003 book on sneaker culture. Where'd you get those? So basically, he is a legend, an icon, like I said before, because he is a representative of hip-hop culture and all of that it encompasses, specifically streetwear and sneaker culture. I first learned about him as the person in a class, as the person who wrote the first article on sneakers, and this is so iconic because it's coming from someone that was actually involved and in the culture and knew what he was talking about, and he was just a representative of us and what it meant to be a hip-hop head, basically. He penned the very first article on sneaker culture back in 1990 for The Source magazine, which is also a hip-hop magazine that was super big back then, and his article was titled Confessions of a Sneaker Addict. Here's the article, Confessions of a Sneaker Addict. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Pause it if you wanna read it. If not, I will link it down below. So again, why is he so important? Like I said before, it's because he was able to give a perspective of sneaker, streetwear, hip-hop culture from someone that was actually involved in it and not from an outsider's point of view or a mainstream point of view, because back then the media was reporting hip-hop culture, street culture as something derogatory, right? It's not what it is today. It wasn't widely accepted as it is now, and it was deemed as something that was gonna die out. So from his words, when I wrote my article, it was really the first time that anyone had tried to open the curtain, if you will, on what this lifestyle is and what it means, and what was missing was the why. My book really expanded on that. I certainly wrote the first book on sneaker culture, behavior patterns, experiences beyond the actual shoe. My book was more about the people than the actual shoes. So again, he even himself says that like what he did was so impactful because it was a voice from within the actual culture telling people what the culture was. And again, he's just a legend, he's iconic for that reason, because he is a representative and he tries to shed light on what street culture, hip-hop culture is and why it's important. And again, from an insider's point of view, he actually lived it. He helped create what we have now. So that's why he's a legend. That's why he's an icon. That's why he's a GOAT. Last but not least, I'm gonna be going over the Nike Blazer. This shoe, I've loved this shoe since I was younger, since I was little. Again, it's just another simple, timeless shoe from Nike that's gonna continue to do numbers forever because of its simplicity and its timeless design. So basically the shoe came out in 1973 as Nike's best basketball shoe. I'm gonna go into some reading, some history. Let's go. So the shoe featured a leather upper, a mesh nylon tongue, and a textured vulcanized rubber sole, the preferred sole for basketball sneakers in the early 1970s. In fact, each of these elements were the best technology available for shoes on the court. Before the 60s and 70s, sneakers were merely rubber-soled shoes used for athletics and nothing else. The Blazer is an icon from that moment and has survived the progress of time. The Blazer hasn't changed, instead its community has changed around it. So now I'm about to get into the main wearer of the shoe and how it became popular. It was mainly worn by George the Iceman Gervin, and this is this part of the history of the blazer is why it's an important shoe. So basically, what modern sneaker fans would dub a player exclusive, this blazer model had Iceman emblazoned across the heel where Nike usually sat. Player exclusives are one-off colorways or renditions created for players by the brands and are frequently used today to build hype around silhouettes, test colorways, and as a public expression of a brand's commitment to the player. The Gervin Blazer PEs may very well be the first PE, which is player exclusive, sneaker ever made. The Iceman PE was never made available to the public and stands as a crucial moment to help define how brands and players interact. So that is why the blazer is so important, not only because it was one of the best basketball shoes of its time, but because it also introduced the first player exclusive of a shoe. Right now, today, let's expand a little bit more outside of players, right? Nike works with Drake, Nike works with Travis Scott, and I think for those of you that are not super into sports, that may be most recognizable to you when Travis Scott is at a game or he's doing a show, he's out, paparazzi has him, and you see he has a shoe on that no one's ever seen before. That's like a player exclusive. He's rocking shoes that we know that may or may not reach the public. We're hoping it reaches the public. It may reach the public in a slightly different way, but I think that's the best way to relate it to you guys that may not necessarily watch sports or anything, to help you understand what a player exclusive is. Okay, so a little bit of a twist in history for the blazer. It lost popularity. So I'm gonna go into that a little bit. Soon after the blazer was introduced, Nike put its focus into developing its Air program, and basketball technology took off, and hard vulcanized rubber soles got left behind one by one. So the Air technology, basically the bubbles that you see in Air Maxes. But the sole that was once designed for traction on court was quickly recognized by skateboarders for having amazing traction on their grip tape. The heavy leather and suede uppers stood up against the beatings skaters brought against them. As basketball players left the blazer behind, skaters took ownership of the sneaker and found it a second life that would ultimately save the silhouette from ever going out of style. So basically we have skaters and the skate lifestyle to thank for keeping blazers on the market. Now we have seen a resurgence of the blazer, right? People love to work out in them. People wear them as a lifestyle shoe now, because of its iconic silhouette. And basically the blazer has had a rough past. It went to being a basketball shoe, super popular, and then fell off, then got picked back up by skaters. So that is a little bit about Nike's blazers. Fun facts, Nike blazers were named after the Portland Trail Blazers. Yeah, in case anyone didn't know that. So that's it for this episode of the ABCs of Fashion. And going over the letter B, we went over the Birkin bag, Bottega Veneta, who Bobbito Garcia is, and the Nike blazer. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment what you liked about the video, what you want to see in the upcoming letters C and D, and please don't forget to subscribe. Yes, thanks for watching, thanks for staying this long, and I will see you in the next video.